I have another announcement. Councillor Bennett, do you have one? All right, come on, jump in.
As long as we're thanking people, I really want to acknowledge the work done by Mark Bechtel and his entire street crew. I really thought they did a remarkable job. I was out Friday as the snow began and was able to get back to work and then home, and felt lucky. And those guys were out beginning Friday night all weekend, really doing a great job keeping our streets passable. They certainly made I live close into downtown, and certainly made that entire area really useful, beginning immediately Friday night and then Saturday morning. It was pretty amazing. They do a great job, and don't get to do it very often, thank goodness, but when they do it, they did it right.
They do an outstanding job, and in fact, thank you, Councillor Bennett, because we actually have photos from Friday night. I had a chance to go over and visit with the Public Works people and watch some of the crews at work and some of the equipment, because I always love looking at the equipment and watching it work, and went out and spent about an hour or two out at the shops, and we have some photos and some things to tell you about some of the people that work out there and some of the innovative systems that they've created. And I'm going to ask Peter Fernandez, Head of Public Works, or Mark Bechtel to help me a bit, because I don't remember names right off the bat. But would you, Mr. Fernandez, could you just explain, maybe flip back to that first one? This gentleman on the left of the photo is retired, but for some reason he was out there at 9 o'clock on Friday night. He was working the shift.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about him and what he's developed in that map?
Was with us for many years, and I think his official retirement date was November, right? November 30th. He's on part-time exempt to help us through this period before we hire a permanent replacement. But what he's holding there, Mayor, showing you, as you'll recall, is our snow routes. And what we have in place and have had in place for a number of years is a snow and ice plan. So when the de-icing trucks go out, when the sanding trucks go out, they know exactly where they're going to go. And we start, it's actually pretty sensible. We start with arterials in the South and West Hills, work to get them passable, and then work to the collector systems, the minor street system, until they're all done. And then if the situation is bad enough, then we go back and do it all over again. And that's what our staff does, on 12-hour shifts until they're done. That's some of the equipment that we have. You can see the sander in the back, and the sanding shed is just to the left there of the truck, and that's packed with sand, and we load the sand in the trucks and off they go.
And you load the sand in the trucks, and I'm standing there in front of the de-icing tanks, and we do that in a collaborative effort with Marion County and ODOT, and everybody shares the fuel or the de-icing liquid, but it's all sorted out and everybody pays their share at the end. But back to the de-icing, I'm standing there bundled up in coat and earmuffs and gloves, but there are people out there working at that moment at 17 degrees, and they're not, in gloves, because they're putting chains on trucks, and they're repairing chains, and they're doing things that just require them to be out there hour after hour. And so I just wanted you to say, I love the no mess sticker. Thank you very much for showing that. Another gentleman that works out there. Everybody's bundled up, so they have to walk around like this. That's another one of the sanding trucks. They don't come in for very long. I mean, they come in and they fill up and they are scooting back out. There's no hanging around the shed, having a cup of coffee. They're right out there. These are the chains that are actually used, and I learned a lot about how our team out there have identified a different type of chain to use in the treads that doesn't break on the concrete. And we're actually saving quite a bit of money in chains and in equipment, our downtime and repair, because the chains we're using now don't break. The gentleman that you see, and that's the chain right there on the table, are two people who are seasonal employees, and they are dedicated to making those chains get put together right and stay together right, and they're working, I told you, without gloves on, because that's the way you do those chains out there. So so really heartfelt work that they're doing. And that's Bruce Hildebrand, who's in charge, I believe, of the entire operation at that moment out there that night. Is that it?
Yes.
Back to the chains. There we are. That's it.
Great.
That's it.
Yay.
Well, thank you to Public Works for allowing me to come out and, you know, show and tell, but it's a great help, and I encourage counselors, if you have a chance sometimes, to go out and see these operations. I know many of you have done that in the past. You've been on council longer than I, and it gives you a lot of appreciation for what people are actually doing. Most of the people that were out there that night were working until 2, 3, 4 in the morning until another shift would come in.